Pranks are victimless jokes where nobody involved ever gets killed. You didn't believe that, did you? Pranksters in the night are often unwelcome guests. For one firefighter named James McRae, he happened to catch the silhouette of a prankster darting across his lawn one night. It appeared as if the prankster had come from a shed on his property, but then he noticed that they, with the help of some others, were covering a neighbor's property with toilet paper. James got on his cell phone with police and ran outside. The pranksters, 4 teenage boys, were alarmed by this and took off in their vehicle. So James got into his truck and took chase. James accelerated dangerously as the boys tried to escape. He wanted to get close enough to their vehicle so that he could read off the license plate to police, but they kept staying just out of reach for him to do so. The boys were terrified at this point and continued to accelerate in order to lose the relentless James. The boys did eventually get away, but not in a way in which they had planned. James lost control of his vehicle and crashed it. The truck rolled and killed James outright. He had just been recently married. The pranksters were all brought in for questioning, but it is unknown as to whether any of them were charged in relation to James's death. Sometimes fear shouldn't be tampered with. Premila Lal was a bright 18-year-old girl from Colorado. She was friends with a man named Nerrek Galley. The two spent a lot of time together and were very close. Nerrek was recognized almost as a son to Premila's father. Premila's family had recently moved, and they had asked Nerrek to keep an eye on the empty house to be sure that no one happened to break in while they finalized the moving process. Premila knew this and decided, as many friends do, to play a trick on him. She snuck into the home and hid inside a bedroom closet. Nerrek and Premila's younger cousin were both playing video games at the time to keep themselves occupied, but were alarmed when they heard a suspicious noise come from one of the bedrooms. Nerrek, a known gun enthusiast, carried firearms with him and armed himself and Premila's younger cousin, and they both searched the house. Nerrek moved into the bedroom, weapon at the ready, when suddenly Premila jumped out of the closet to scare him, unaware that he was armed. Nerrek, shocked by the prank, had little time to assess the situation. He felt his life was threatened and instinctively shot Premila. The wound would claim her life that day, and Nerrek's life would drastically change as he had mistakenly killed one of the most important people in his life. Premila's family surprisingly didn't blame Nerrek and were quite forgiving for what had happened, though they lost someone so precious to them. And the courts felt the same way. Nerrek faced no charges in the death of Premila. Boys will be boys. Seth Stonerock and Derek Greenlee were 2 teenage boys looking to have a bit of fun without having to use their brains. So Seth had the idea to purchase plastic wrap and petroleum jelly. Seth was excited for his master plan, while Derek, while going along with it, was a lot less enthusiastic. Seth and Derek took their supplies and headed for an intersection. Seth wasted little time in covering the stop sign that had been there with the plastic wrap and jelly. It didn't take long for him to completely conceal the sign from the view of any driver unfortunate enough to approach without enough experience with that intersection to instinctively stop regardless of the sign's visibility. Seth and Derek both left the scene and promptly went onto Facebook to brag about their brilliant prank. But they wouldn't be laughing for long. 2 elderly sisters happened to drive through that intersection not long after the sign was covered. The sun was setting and the driver saw no stop sign, so she proceeded through. The 2 sisters were struck by an oncoming vehicle. The accident would claim both of their lives. Seth and Derek quickly removed their Facebook posts, but it was too late. With their foolish bragging and security footage of them purchasing the supplies to cover the sign, they were caught red-handed. Charges against Derek were dropped as Seth was the mastermind of the entire prank and executed it himself. He served 8 months of a 4-year prison sentence before being released. It just goes to show that death is restrained by nothing and might just show up at the most inappropriate of times, such as when you choose to have a little fun. That's all for now. Remember, you may not believe it, but anything is possible in a world so seriously strange. I'm Rob Dyke, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel because you won't want to miss what's next. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a thumbs up and check out more episodes of Seriously Strange if you think you can handle it.